$15.2 billion original estimate, and the taxpayer will be footing the bill. Never mind. Reaching a feverish pitch for both political parties, but those impassioned pleas for money coming through the mail and the TV set make it bogus. A group calling itself Americans for Bush has raised over $1 million, but the official Bush campaign says it hasn't sanctioned or received money from the group. After public outcry, the Americans for Bush group has agreed to refund contributions from unhappy donors. Terry Keenan has more.
CNN has received calls from around the country from unsuspecting contributors who thought they were making donations directly to the Bush campaign. Most were retirees like Lee Sylvester, who gave more than $200 to Americans for Bush without knowing most of that money was being plowed back into more direct mail appeals for more funds. At a press conference in Washington Thursday, Americans for Bush founder Elizabeth Bidet defended her group's fundraising activities.
Our purpose with NISPAC, as well as with Americans for Bush, has been to implement a grassroots effort dedicated to offering an avenue for the average American to participate in the political process.
Nevertheless, Americans for Bush now says it will refund donations from those average Americans who thought that avenue was sanctioned by the Bush campaign. The address to write for those refunds is Americans for Bush, 1919 Pennsylvania Avenue Northwest, Washington, D.C., 20006. As for the Bush campaign, it says it's delighted by Americans for Bush willingness to refund any donations. Terry Keenan, CNN Business News, New York.
The Senate will vote today on a bill to curb textile, apparel, and shoe imports. The bill would freeze textile and apparel imports next year at 1987 levels, and in later years allow just a 1% gain. Proponents of the bill argue these industries were hurt by a wave of imports in the early 80s from Asia, while the Reagan administration asserts the competition from the Far East has made the textile industry more efficient, and that U.S. trade problems are a thing of the past. The Commerce Secretary William Verity has arrived in Japan with a delegation of American business executives looking for ways to pump up sales of certain American products in Japan. Japanese trade officials have promised to help, but as Brian Jenkins reports from Tokyo, it could take some time for that cooperation to pay off.
The latest U.S. trade delegation to Japan is promoting American-made goods which may hold great appeal for the newly affluent Japanese, sports and leisure equipment, furniture, pet foods, and jewelry. Japan's Ministry of Trade is backing the effort, clearing the way for American companies to sell such products directly to retailers here. The project reflects a friendlier spirit in trade relations since Secretary of Commerce William Verity came here last fall and pressed Japan to open more construction projects to
mile-per-hour increase could bring her to hurricane strength, and there have been hurricane watches issued from Port Arthur, Texas, over to Apalachicola, Florida. As the system drifts northward about 7 or 8 miles an hour, it is moving toward the New Orleans and Louisiana coastline. Tides already running about 2 feet above normal east of the Mississippi in New Orleans and also on South Texas beaches. By later on today, that will be 3 to 5 feet above normal, and the system is expected to slowly intensify. Winds in the upper atmosphere from the west had been